Alright, the section 26 assignment is going to be on creating a scatter plot and trying to find the line of best fit. So what it wants you to do is open up the Excel spreadsheet and make a scatter plot of the data. Time is going to be the X and barrels of consumption on the Y. So the data we're looking at is right here in this Excel file. And it has to do with U.S. motor gasoline consumption from 1950 to 2012. And so we have the years over here, and you can see how many millions of barrels of gasoline we use. As you scroll down this chart, you can tell that it's obviously going up because we use more gas. So I want to make a scatter plot. Fairly easy to do. You just highlight the titles, drag it down, highlight all the data, and to get to the end here. Stop at that part. So the whole data is highlighted, and you just go up to Insert, and go over to your plots again, and scatter plots down here. Insert a scatter plot, XY scatter, click on it. Alright, and here's our graph. Make that a little bit bigger. And because we highlighted the titles, Excel tried to be smart and tried to fill everything out for us. Did a pretty good job. Alright, put the X down here, put the Y's up here, and everything looks good. Okay, we got the year and the X. The only thing I don't like, there's no labels here. So remember, go to the plus sign, and let's add axis titles. From here, I can click down, and I can change this to the year, and I can change this one to, let's see, this would be barrels of gasoline. Oops. Gasoline consumed. You can call it whatever you want, just make sure it makes sense. So barrel of gasoline consumed, and make sure you put that one in. My goodness, millions. All right. You got to make sure you indicate that it's in millions. It does say it in the title, but you want to put it on the axis as well. All right, and then the title sounds pretty good. Consumption in millions of barrels. If we wanted to make that a little more specific, we could say in the USA, from 1950 2012. Right, so they gave us a default title, but we can change that. Okay, so here's our scatter plot. We also want to add a trend line. Okay, this looks pretty linear. It's not perfect, obviously, but it's fairly linear. If I right click on a dot, I can go to add trend line. Now when we do that, it gives you some options here. We want a linear one. We think this looks like a straight line. Alright, so once you hit linear, a lot of times they select that automatically for you. Go down here. I want to display the equation. Alright, that equation is something I want. And I want the r squared value. So click on that. So I can move that wherever I want. I can even make it, I thought I can make it bigger. It looks like it wants me to drag it. Well, that's too bad. I was hoping to make it a little bit bigger, but if I can highlight it, make the font a little bit bigger. Or not. Let's see. Well, font. I want that to be bigger. Okay, so that's a little bit bigger. That looks nice. Okay, so once I have my chart done, I want to go over here, and this wants me to copy and paste the graph below. Okay, I don't want you to turn in your Excel file, but I want your chart. So you can click on Excel, click on the chart, and just copy it. Come over here, right click, and paste it. So this is nice. I can put this chart in my write-up without actually having to have it two files. It's one file now. Once you do that, there's some questions here. What's the equation of the line of best fit? What's the correlation coefficient? Use the best fit line to estimate consumption in 75. So one thing I want to point out about question 3, this might be a little bit tricky. If you look at the axis titles, it starts at 1940, 1950. We did not relabel these. So this is not year 0, year 10. So you actually have to plug in the number 1975 because Excel will always use whatever numbers you put in. Since we had 1940, it's going to use 1940. It's not going to make that year 0. All right, so if you look at this equation here, you need to actually plug in 1975. If we're doing this by hand, we would have renumbered these, but Excel doesn't ever renumber it unless you tell it to. Is that estimate an overestimate or underestimate? And can you actually use this regression line? Remember, regression line is the line of best fit. So we're saying, can we use the line of best fit or the trend line to estimate how much gasoline was used in 2040? And why or why not? Okay, so you got these 5 questions, you have your graph that you made, and that'll be all for that assignment.